The Dodgers won their division. They won the wild card series. They head into the NLDS. Somebody who's had a front row seat to most of that this season is Dodgers play-by-play guy Steven Nelson. We are talking with him live on this episode of All Dodgers. Coming at you live from my mom's basement in Pleasant Grove, Utah. This is the All Dodgers podcast, part of the Bleav Network of podcasts, brought to you by FanDuel. I am Jeff Snider. It's not just me. This guy next to me, that's Clint Pasillas, coming to you from his mom's basement in beautiful La Puente, California. And guess what? It's not just the two of us either, because that other guy right there, which way? Right there. That is Steven Nelson coming to you live from his mom's basement, a.k.a. a hotel in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Steven, Thank you for hopping on the show with us. We have been looking forward to this for a while. So, thanks for, I know it's a late night there, but we appreciate you talking with us.
No, fellas, this is long overdue. And I'm perpetually on West Coast time. I am going to try and shut it down early for me because I don't have my two kids. Joke's on you, honey. And so... But this was important to get on the schedule and hang out with you, two of my friends.
Appreciate it. And since the Yankees won tonight, Dodgers don't start till a half hour later on Saturday. So we figure this is that extra half hour. You're using it wisely here, talking Dodgers with us. The half hour you gained. There's so much to talk with you about. Like I said in the intro, you've had kind of a front row seat to the Dodgers up and down, frustrating, exhilarating, all that kind of season, including the last couple weeks that have been really good, and a lot of history. And my favorite player of all time, Clayton Kershaw, and you have had the opportunity this year to call two huge moments in his career, which is pretty, like, for the guy who's the backup TV play-by-play guy, for you to get to do that, to call it on TV, his 3,000 strikeout, and then the last start of his major league career in the regular season. What's that like for a baseball fan who got to grow up and do his dream job and then get to do those moments for a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, it's a tremendous honor, and there's massive responsibility in calling those games. Obviously, I've talked about this before with Clint and others. I do think that it should have been Joe to call those moments and those games, but the schedule just didn't shake out that way. And so, when it's your shift, you got to show up to work and do the best you can with what you got. And so that's what I try to do. I tried to do it with the main objective being reverence for Clayton and the Kershaws and respect to the fan base as well, which has adored him for 2 decades now. And so in that, again, my thought was don't do too much. I'm always team less is more, right? And especially on television, let it breathe. Yeah. And so when it has come to big moments, but especially the moments for Kersh this year, that was front of mind for me. 3,000, it was always going to be punch it with something simple and shut the heck up. And so that's what Oral and I did. It was an emotional moment. I know that there is a section of fans who, wanted something a little bit more, but I think if you go back and listen to, calls from Mr. Scully doing Kersh's no-hitter, and it was like, well, he's done it. Like if that happened in 2025, or those fans going to skewer that call, I don't know. But again, I just think it's that was kind of the mindset of it. I didn't want to do too much, and I didn't want to let Kersh down. Thankfully, he gave me his stamp of approval afterwards, which was a really cool thing, and that kind of solidifies that as the moment of the year in the booth for me, and a moment I'll hold on to forever as long as I'm doing this.
The mark of a good play-by-play man is knowing when the audience is part of the booth with you. And also shout out to our mutual producer extraordinaire, Mark Weiner. He would appreciate the less is more comment, because I've heard it a lot over the last couple of years.
It's like, I think, in broadcasting, like this business, we come up going to, most of us, we go to school for it or whatever. And, you holding a microphone or in front of a red light forever. And then, somewhere along the way, like there is sort of like this inflation of self and
Mhm.
self-importance. I try to, stay humble and avoid that mindset, because the fact of the matter is, like, no matter how great you are on the microphone, on a sports broadcast, like the whole power of sport are the people who make that moment, and the fans, and the images that are captured by our camera operators, the audio that is mixed by our sound crew, and the director calling the shots with the producer in the truck. And so, you could have the most eloquent lines scripted out and ready to go, but I would be willing to bet that 99 out of 100 people would rather not hear that line and just kind of hear the sounds of the stadium and the images, because those are the most powerful.
Jeff, I have a quick follow for him on that one as well, because as we were about to go live, this guy's looking at an image of himself talking about the little things that was wrong with his collar and all that. How much do you fight the perfectionist and maybe
Yeah.
overthinking those kind of moments?
It's a great question, Clint. All the time, I'm terrible to myself. That's why, Boog Shambi, who was on the call with Doug Glanville for the Dodgers wild card series, but Boog has been a great friend over the years, and he really changed my entire career around. Before I took the Dodger job, going into the Dodger job, and even through that first year, it was a imposter syndrome. I felt like I was trying to be the broadcaster that I thought Dodger fans wanted to hear, because they're so used to hearing Vin Scully and now Joe Davis. And so I have to be this, kind of buttoned up storyteller, perfect. And Boog, we were in Arizona in spring training, and Boog said, "Hey, be nice to yourself, man."
Love
And it
that.
was like such a simple thing, like, but the concept of giving yourself grace, I think, is lost on a lot of us. Because and I think it's rooted in a good thing. We care, we want to do well, but it can get to a point where it's detrimental to yourself. And like I definitely can empathize with that. And like and to tie it back to Kirsch, his final start, Jeff, you bringing that up, it's like, all right, this could be. We didn't want to talk about it on the air, but it's like, because we knew he wasn't going to be in the wild card roster. It's like that could be his final game,
Yep.
because you didn't know at the time that the Dodgers were going to sweep the Reds, and so you know, uh, we knew going into that last inning that it was going to be one more batter. And as soon as like that, so that moment plays out, and it's such a beautiful scene in Seattle with Freddie coming to get him and the ovation. Mariner fans in T-Mobile Park, I mean, they were so classy and they did it so well. But I'll be like, personally, I was like, like, I should have punched the strikeout a little bit more. But I should have had something just to like encapsulate Kirsch, like one quick line, and then get out of the way for Freddie, and then let the moment play out. And I was kicking myself for like the next 20 hours. Like, we landed back home, and I got back home, and my wife was like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, I think I biffed it, honey. Like, I was like sulking, because like, because again, I didn't really say anything. I was like, it is a slider, and there's another strikeout. And then I was like, here comes Freddie Freeman. And then, like, playing it back in my head, I was like, if that's the last time we see Clayton Kershaw, and those are the final words that are talked about him on a big league game, like, I'm the biggest idiot ever. And so yeah, to answer your question, there, Clint, yeah, I think about that, just every now and again.
I don't know if you remember back in March when I first watched the Apple TV documentary about last year's World Series, and I took a
Yeah.
picture of my TV and I sent you a text like, "Hey, look who's on my screen! It's you." And I don't know if you remember your reply. It was, "Well,
I
would have been
don't.
nice of the cameraman to point out that my collar was over my suit coat." Like,
Yeah.
little bit
Yeah.
of a
Listen,
perfectionist.
The people in the audience,
Yeah,
people in the live chat are telling you you're doing just fine, buddy. I can also vouch for you if that doesn't mean anything.
I know. It really it means a lot, man. And that's no BS. Like,
Eh,
yeah. Thank you.
I'll tell you what I love about listening to you, and not to brown nose or anything. We've been friends long enough. I'm not going to lie to you just to be nice.
No, you'll tell me when I mess something up, which is that's a true friend.
I think the one time, yeah, I have told you one time, like you could have done this better. But
Yeah.
the listening to you, you are good at describing what's happening in a baseball game, which is the number one thing I look for in a radio play-by-play guy, because I can't see what's happening. I need that, and a lot of radio play-by-play guys, you would think that would be the thing they're best at, and they're not. And you are very good at that. The other thing is, when I listen to you, I can tell that you like baseball. And that's almost as important to me in an announcer. I need somebody who loves baseball as much as I do. I don't want somebody who, I'm at work and I'm telling you what's happening in this baseball game. I want somebody who loves it. I've told you, it's one of the reasons I love listening to Dontrell as a color commentator. It's like, you could tell that dude loves baseball,
Yeah.
So I love that about you.
No, thank you, brother. That last one is truly the biggest compliment, because I think that's a huge part of the deal. And, that's something Joe, I've asked Joe for advice over the last couple of years. And I've said, hey, Joe, like, give me something, man. Like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Like, I want to get better. So, who better to ask than Joe? And something he told me, he's like, this isn't a critique. It's just something I want you to keep in mind, is like, and never forget that you're calling a big league game, and it doesn't matter what records the two teams are, like, on a big league game. And so, yeah, like that's something that's really important to me, whether I was calling hockey beforehand or now baseball, or, hosting Sports Center, is like, I recognize how beyond blessed I am to do these jobs, and I'm doing them because I love sports, and the people watching do too. But there might be a young fan out there, somebody new to sport out there, who is tuning in as well. And if they can sense your passion, then maybe through the screen or through the airwaves, that can kind of seep into them. Again, I think that could get lost on folks, because baseball is 162 games. That's not counting spring training, not counting the postseason, and it's every year. And the dog days certainly hit all of us, but I never want it to be lost on us that, like, we get to watch the baseball game.
It's a
we
pretty
get to
cool
watch
job.
We get to watch the Dodgers, right?
Yeah.
As somebody who grew up a fan of the Chicago White Sox, let me tell you, it could be a hell of a lot worse, So yeah, I don't want people to forget that.
Hey, Jeff, you want to pop up Cole's super chat from a little bit ago, $5? Because I think this is one of the things that's really, you're great at your job, and we're not just going to keep kissing your ass the whole time here, of course. But one of the things that's really endeared you to the people is that you are getting a little more feisty on the calls when some of those home plate, let's say, balls and strikes aren't really quite accurate.
So again, yeah, really
how do
passionate
you not
about
lose
baseball.
it worse?
Really passionate about baseball. I get really lost in the game sometimes, and I don't like bad baseball, and I don't like shows. Umpiring is a hard job. It is a thankless job, and Mo is always quick on radio to kind of balance me out a little bit, because whether I'm yelling "sir" after a missed call, or just calling an umpire a jabroni for making the game about him. That is just the fan in me kind of coming out on the air. And there are times where I could probably be a little bit better about that, a little bit more professional, so to speak. But sometimes it just comes out that way, and I can't control it. So yeah,
we're fine with it.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, you're muted, buddy.
Oh, man.
So the thing about a dump button is you have to undump.
I thought he was going Shadur Sanders there. I was like, what is Jeff? What did Jeff say? Yeah,
I was just saying, here on All Dodgers, we definitely have a policy that anytime you say the word professional, you have to put it in air quotes.
Yeah.
So,
It's true, yeah.
but let's talk about that. So, robot umps are coming next year. Not the full robot umps that I would prefer, but the challenge system. And tonight in Major League Baseball, there was a controversial call in the Padres-Cubs game in the ninth inning. Xander Bogaerts, full count pitch. He takes strike 3. On the TV, it looked like a ball. He definitely thought it was a ball. Would have been ball 4. The next 2 guys got hit by pitches. It's a 2-run game at that point. Pretty consequential play.
Yeah.
But something that was interesting to me after the fact was I looked at Baseball Savant, which is based on StatCast, and popping it up on the screen here. Baseball Savant had the pitch as a strike. And for me, like, this is the best argument in favor of at least a challenge system, if not full robot umps, but something, because right now, nobody knows for sure whether that was a strike. And most people believe it was a ball because what you saw on TV, what you heard on TV was that it was a ball, and yet it might have been a strike. And if we had a challenge system, we would all know 100% right now whether it was a ball or a strike.
Yeah, no, I mean that's terrific work by you, Jeff. Because when I saw it when we landed, you react probably the same way 99% of people did, and I would say 1% did what you did, and that's go to Baseball Savant, because we've texted about this. Is that the TV box, which I generally hate, is not accurate at the tops and the bottoms. The width is fine, tops and bottoms, but like to know that it was that far down on Savant, I was like, okay, that was eye-opening. And so we've had conversations about that. Our executive producer Mike Levy at Sportsnet LA, just kind of over this season, like, hey, do we want to get rid of it? There are different ways that we can do it. I think certainly that's going to change next year with the challenge system in place. But I just for Major League Baseball, like, my question would be for MLB, given all of the data and the technology that they have access to, that they have implemented, they have created and been at the forefront for, in many ways. Baseball Savant kind of being looped in there, like the fact that their own game day app, which some fans are consuming the games on, does not also use the same zone that Baseball Savant, which is another MLB thing, uses. Like that. I just don't.
If even MLB can't agree with itself, like, what are we supposed to do here?
It doesn't make any sense. And so I think it would be really healthy for the game and really healthy for the umpire union if they did that, because it would probably save folks like DJ Rayburn a lot of grief sometimes, because fans think they're terrible at their job, or they ruin the postseason when really nailed it. Yeah,
he might have. And the funny thing is, if that TV box had been what the Savant box is, so the TV box showed that it was at the bottom of the zone, the entire narrative would have been, what a pitch by Brad Keller. That guy's nails, Same pitch, right. Different narrative because of where a box is superimposed on the TV screen. It's really a kind of crazy world that we're in.
Yeah, no, I really can't wait for it. I'm excited to see how kind of we evolve with it. I'm not like, getting too far over my skis with it, but I'm just like definitely anxious to kind of see what the rollout looks like next year and how it kind of changes the way we broadcast.
And hopefully it does take the box off the TV screen. It's like, don't worry.
No, I need something to complain about. We are an overreactionary world, man. I need that.
Right. So another thing, like we can't, like, we can do is you could just do the corners. It's not a full box. Like, I just think, kind of, maybe not all the way removing it, Clint, but like giving, like, there's something, but it's a little bit less than what it is. Even that I think would be, would be good. On the heels of Cam Schlittler dealing and then seeing Levon Hernandez's name, mentioned on SportsCenter on the internet, and then you watch that 15 strikeout performance, you're like, oh my gosh, umpires now are amazing. They are robots. They're already robots. We don't need robots. They are compared to.
It's like unfair to that umpire from the Padres Cubs game tonight. It's like, he called a good game and maybe even better than everybody. But like 80% of the world thinks that he cost the Padres that game, when really the Padres have scored 5 runs in their last 51 postseason innings. Maybe they should hit better.
Well, that's an interesting thought there, Jeff. Yeah, perhaps not going 3 for 26 with runners in scoring position is a bigger indicator of series success than one call at the bottom of the zone. But,
did you see the tweet that Ben Rortvedt had more hits in 2 games than Tatis and Machado had combined in 3 games?
I did. The legend of Ben Rortvedt. Everything revolves around Rortvedt.
Speaking of Rortvedt, let's talk about Rortvedt for a sec. I'm going to try to do this on the fly, okay, Clint? The thing I forgot to get ready. I'm going to pop this in and see if it'll work for us.
It looks like we just got a passive tweet. Is that what I heard? Is that what the rumor I'm seeing from?
We can hear it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So this is actually really funny.
How do I do it?
Okay.
I am the worst.
Okay.
Oh,
breaking
shit.
news.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Let's go. Here we go. Got it up.
So, 3-way trade. Dodgers receive Adam Suranowski, Paul Gervais, and Ben Rortvedt. Rays receive Hunter Fiducia, Brian Van Bell, and the Reds receive Zach Littell. So the big piece is the Dodgers have now moved off Hunter Fiducia. Finally, he gets to actually go play baseball somewhere.
Is this who?
I don't know.
Who are these names? Okay, listen. Admittedly, I have no idea who these people are. I know this is not Saturday. I apologize for the F-bomb. What is an Adam Serwinski? I am just not that in the know with baseball. Do you know anything about this dude?
No, I don't know any.
Is this setting up? Is this setting up something else? Anthony DeSantis says these guys are clueless. Do you know anything about these dudes that we just traded for, the Dodgers traded for? If you do, please start your own podcast and tell everybody about who the hell these people are that the Dodgers just traded for. I would love to learn about it. Anthony DeSantis. DeSanctis. I apologize. But what a stupid comment here. Who the hell knows about Adam Wazowski and Paul Gervais and Ron Rortvedt or whatever? These aren't names. These are letters you get in Scrabble and you're trying to figure out what the hell you're doing. I'm saying I nailed that.
Ron Rortvedt.
In the moment. I nailed that. It's even better with the video, but Jeff is great at using the software. Very proud of him.
Yeah. But we got the audio, which, that was the night.
I'm going to try. If he's in the starting lineup game 1, I'm going to try and work Ron Rortvedt into the radio broadcast just for you. And then I'll maybe record Rick Moe's reaction as well as I say Ron Rortvedt. And then I'll just send it to you guys to play in your next episode.
We'd appreciate it. That was a spite-filled attempt, and people are obviously very confused. So that was a clip from the day before the trade deadline. That was audio you guys heard before the trade deadline when the Dodgers acquired future Dodger legend, current Dodger legend Ben Rortvedt. Or Steven, if you want to mix this one in somehow, say he gets another double because we assume it's going to happen. What we have here, thanks to our friend IB Strokin here on the chat, there's little Ben Rortvedt. So that also works.
I'm sorry. What was the commenter's handle?
IB Strokin.
That's
you're focused on what's
to the
important.
internet, baby.
That is electric. You guys should give him a super chat back just for the handle. Yes.
So how do you go from being somebody that I would imagine at the time a lot of people were maybe not as emphatic or as animated as I was at that trade? How do you go from not knowing who this journeyman was to now people are kind of like, do we need Will? Do we need Will back in the lineup? And also the obsessive nature of baseball fans. They just love this dude. He gets bunts down. That's sexy, man.
I mean, it's truly, it's one of the great stories going in baseball right now. But that nobody's talking about because you got to be super in the weeds to be discussing it. Have how many layers toward the Earth's center, the Earth's core, you have to get to find that among all the things we got going right now. But for Ben, he's the throw-in. He's the afterthought. Just catcher depth for the organization in that move. That was. I mean, I think even he would be the first to admit that. Mm-hmm. So to then go from that point to now starting for the Dodgers in the postseason as they try and go back to back is that remarkable doesn't even begin to describe it. It's and how quickly he has endeared himself, not just to the fan base, but to the entire pitching staff. But you also have to keep in mind, like, there are still some growing pains because he doesn't have that much time with the big club even now. And I think we saw that the other night, the first game of the wild card series. I just think that I don't know that. And Alex Vesia sort of hinted at this in his post game interview after they clinched last night, but like getting on the same page. I just don't think that they, the setup. You go back and watch it. Like, I don't know if Ben's setup for Vesia behind the plate, if they're on the same page, because again, they haven't worked together that much. But and Ben, when he's getting ready for a pre-pitch, like he's setting up, up and in. He may want it there, but that's not something that you really saw, Will Smith or anybody's caught Alex Vesia do. So that's like, one of those under the radar things. But the point is, like, Ben Rortvedt, similar physiques as to the three of us, Ben has. And so I think, and I just think that the way he has captured the hearts of Dodger fans is really cool.
I don't have tattoos, and I probably never will, but his tattoo is one of the coolest things I have ever seen. That thing on his shoulder and his chest, like it's like a Viking wearing a lion's head as a hat or something.
I know. I want that tattoo to fight Bueller's back tat in this division series.
And then Bondo will just walk in and he's like, it's like that, how everybody, if Australia invaded, everybody would have to fight 1,000 kangaroos. Like, everybody has to fight 1,000 tattoos when Bondo comes into the fight.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's say, you gentlemen want to pivot from one Dodgers legend to another. There's this Shohei Ohtani fellow.
Hey,
he's starting for the
luckily,
Dodgers.
Stephen Nelson has some Japanese ancestry. He can tell you the correct pronunciation of the name.
And I appreciate that he does each and every time.
He's Japanese. He's not Irish. Got it.
It's not O''T-O''N''Y. Oh, Ohtani.
Look, I get people like even Oral has said this on the air, and so I know fans are probably saying it too. It's like, why do you say it like that? Because I would be disgracing my ancestors if I did not accurately pronounce Japanese names. That's the whole reason. Like, I know it's Roki Sasaki, but in Japanese it's Roki Sasaki, because like in Western, for us in English, there's an extra emphasis on the second syllable, right? Like that's why it's always been Ohtani or Sasaki. But in Japanese, it's equal distribution for all the syllables. Again, things that nobody cares. I get it. I wholeheartedly admit it. But like, there's just something in my being where I just can't not say Ohtani.
Right.
And as one of the few Japanese broadcasters in Major League Baseball, you've kind of been tied to Ohtani since long before either of you came to the Dodgers. You've kind of had that connection. Like you presented him with what was that a few years ago when he was on the Angels?
It was the Commissioner's Historic Achievement Award. That was the 2021 World Series, Atlanta and Houston. And so we were in Houston, and Rob Manfred presented him because, he deserved it. And so, he was there in town to receive it. And, I knew that there was going to be a ton of Japanese media there. And so I was like, I just kind of wanted them to feel welcomed and kind of seen and to show respect to them and to Shohei, obviously. And so I worked with my Auntie Grace, who's diehard Dodger fan. Her and my uncle, they're always at the stadium, and she's fluent in Japanese. And I was like, oh, these are the kind of, I'd like to say this, like, does this make sense? And so she was kind of helping me script something out. And to this day, it is the most nervous I've ever been in my entire life, because you feel like naked when you're trying to speak a different language. And so that's why when you see players or reporters, trying to conduct interviews in English, like, it is just, you just cannot tip the cap enough, because it is just such a again, a nerve-wracking thing, because you don't want to say the wrong thing. You don't want to be disrespectful, and all those reasons. So yeah, that was terrifying.
And now you get to call him playing baseball, which is
Yeah.
something he's really, really good at. I don't know if you've noticed from where you sit. Like on TV, we can see it. I don't know if you can see it from the press box.
He might make it. $2 million might be too much a year.
Fine, guys, let's calm down. No, yeah, no, it's amazing, man. Like, and again, and I'm always like, the first thing I say is, like, as unbelievable as he is, it's just he's pretty normal, away from his insane, unicorn abilities on the baseball field. So that, I think that kind of takes the aura to another level when you see the respect that he kind of plays with, and the way he's able to compartmentalize and just be hyper focused, and the way he takes care of himself. He's dialed in like every aspect of his life, which of course, has changed forever now with, he and Mamiko welcoming their first child this season. But he's insert whatever adjective here, because we've used them all at this point. We've exhausted every word.
And now he's starting game 1 for the Dodgers against the Phillies in the NLDS. First postseason start. You get to be on the call on the radio. That's pretty cool as well. How about we talk about a little bit of baseball, a little bit about this team and what's going on. This is an important time of year. It is Keek-timber. What do you need to see out of Shohei? 5, 6, 7, 10 innings?
Yeah, no, it's really just, get out of Kike's way, Shohei. The spotlight isn't yours anymore. It's October now. No, I think, what he did last time he saw Philly was pretty good. I think the Dodgers would sign up for that with maybe another inning or two. And that's what, Andrew Friedman was saying after the Dodgers clinched against the Reds, that, he's a normal starter now. They slow played him and built him up throughout the second half, and it was, I'm sure, annoying at times or frustrating at times, for perhaps all parties involved, including Shohei, to not kind of go full bore earlier. But this is the reason why. It's for this stage like this, and that that game 2 was just so massive in so many ways for the Dodgers. But chief among them was that it allowed them to line things up for this division series. It doesn't mean that they're going to win the division series, but it certainly gives them better odds, I think, just based on how you can now throw Show game 1, off day game 2, and then you get Snell, Yam. You could, and then game 4, if that, that's whomever you want to throw out there, Glass, Kershaw, Glass, and then off day game 5, their Show on a full week's of rest. So like, that's why, not playing with their food against Cincy was so massive.
Yeah, and maybe they won't need a game 4 starter either. Maybe they'll just not play with their food in Philadelphia either.
Love that.
Yeah,
would love that.
And I should mention, I didn't ask you to segue, but I should mention our sponsor, FanDuel. You mentioned the NLDS, the odds, all of that. Right now, over on FanDuel, the Dodgers are favored to win the NLDS at minus 124, with the Phillies at plus 106. Even though game 1, the Phillies are favored to win that game. They are at currently minus 130, Dodgers at plus 110. So the betting odds think the Phillies are going to win the first game, and then maybe the Dodgers are going to win the next 3. I don't know, but I'd have a hard time betting against Shohei Ohtani on the mound,
I was talking about this with Mo after the game last night during the post-game show. It's like, this going into it anyway, it has vibes to last year's division series, where it feels like the winner, has certainly the favorite to win the pennant, if not win it all. Last year it was the Dodgers and the Padres, and this year it's the Dodgers and the Phillies. These have been 2 heavyweights in the NL for several years now, but they've, been dancing on the same floor, but not in the same circle. And finally they're going at it. It's hard to believe that, they haven't faced each other in the postseason since 2009. I mean, that really is hard to believe. And I was texting with a buddy of mine. He's a diehard Phillies fan. And he goes, I remember Broxton, So,
Yeah.
so
Broxton and Matt
um,
Stairs in '08. Yeah.
yeah,
We
right.
still
So
we still have
right,
nightmares of that.
yeah. So it's crazy that it's been that long since they played in the playoffs, and I don't. My only regret is that it's a best of 5, not a best of 7.
Yeah, that's my regret about a lot of playoff rounds. I best of 3 is the worst, but at least it worked out in the Dodgers' favor this time.
Yeah,
One other thing, we're talking about Otani, your Japanese heritage. You came very close to getting to call only the third Japanese-born pitcher to throw a no-hitter in Major League Baseball. Would have been the fourth no-hitter
yeah,
because Hideo Nomo had 2 of them. But
yeah,
Yamamoto came within 1 out of throwing a no-hitter. That game ended up ending very terribly. I don't want to talk about the
yeah.
ending, but like what's going through your mind as you're getting closer and realizing the possibility of the history you might be about to call.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I did not let myself think he was going to do it until there were 2 outs.
So that was
Jinx.
the
And
problem,
so,
huh? Announcer
Yeah,
jinx is
jinx.
real, guys.
no, it was one of those things where um, the whole night I was like, well, I mean, they're going to get a knock at some point. They're going to get a knock at some point. Like, all right, how can this isn't going to happen? It's not going to happen. And then the 2 outs, and then I was like, if he does this, what the hell are you going to say? Uh, um, and again, the quick conclusion I came to, because it's in the middle of the inning, and those seconds between batters, internally they feel like longer. But the conversation I had with myself was same, like we talked about at the beginning. Keep it simple, punch it, and get out the way. So, God, I just that one, Jeff, because of the context that you preface the question with, the Japanese heritage, the fact that it hasn't been done very often in baseball history. Like, that's why after the game, I was sitting in the booth next to Dr. Krajewski, Rick Krajewski, researcher and statistician. I was like, that
Love
kind
that
of
dude.
stung. That kind of stung. I'm gonna be honest, because I think just that was I don't know that I've ever emotionally, personally invested in like a singular night like that in a long time. So yeah, that one stung, and like it's then talking to Yama the next day and kind of seeing his attitude that he came to the park with. I was like, well, if he's over it, then if
I
he's
probably
if
should
he
stop pouting.
if
Yeah.
he's fine, I need to buck up here. But why the cutter, Yama? That's like your fourth best pitch.
He
But
dotted
that's
it too. He dotted his
so
spot.
that's that's what he told me. He's like, I was like the only pitch that I didn't have. I wasn't 100% certain on. It was like, do I go with the cutter or do I try the curve? And or the split, and say they went with the cutter. And hey, credit to Jackson Holiday, man. Credit that like in that moment to put that kind of swing on it. Um, yeah, and then as far as I'm concerned, the game ended there.
Yep, we definitely don't need to talk about anything that happened after that, for sure. Ooh,
Oh,
did we just
Uh
freeze
oh,
up? Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
we're
we're
back.
back.
we're back.
And
As
we're
I say,
live.
I think it was an important game. Somehow, as awful as it was, and it stung for you. It stung a lot for us as well watching the
Yeah,
ball game. It felt like an important game to lose because I think from that point on, the team went
yep,
15-5 to end the season. Jeff and I did a show. Well, he did a show, and then I got out of my pool and came and joined him on the show to be like, this needs to be effing rock bottom for the team.
yep,
Thankfully, it was, and
yep,
we there's a lot of consternation about flipping the switch. It
yep,
seems like some of these boys flipped the switch from that point forward.
yep,
You're around them. Have you
yeah,
kind of seen a different edge to them?
yeah. No, that 1,000% the case. 1,000%. Now the team meeting that everybody was clamoring for the entirety of the summer, it happened before that game. It happened Saturday in Baltimore. It was the first team meeting called by Dave Roberts all year. And then Yama went out and pitched 8 2/3 no hit innings, and then they gave it up. So it just goes to show that having a conference doesn't lead to wins. But what that result and the way that result came, what that provided was the team a chance to just finally fully exhale and let it go. I mean, talking to folks after the game, it was like a morgue in there. It was just quiet, stunned. Yama was the first one to go over to, first Blake Trinan went over to Yama and apologized. Yama told him to not worry about it. It's part of the game. And then Yama went over to Tanner. So that was that. And then the next day, it was like any other day. And that was what told the coaches that they were in a good spot. And talking to some of the players, it was, they're playing music as normal. And I think Kike told me, it was like, the way, like, it was just so, like it kind of glanced off of us because it was just so stunning. It was just one of those crazy baseball sport things. It was like, oh my God, what just happened? But we don't really have time to think about it. And so I think, that was just the point where everybody said, all right, let's just let go and play baseball today. And they were able to turn things around. They haven't totally cleaned everything up, right? There were still moments of forgetting the little things, but I do think that was rock bottom for the regular season, and the record seems to reflect that since then.
Yeah, although that 15-5 since then, I would guess 5 of those 5 losses were for similar reasons to that one,
Yep.
So there's still, and even some of the wins have been a little bit less relaxing than we might have preferred. And so there's still definitely work to be done. But if nothing else, the offense has decided, guys, we need to make sure that we don't have as many high leverage situations anymore. And that worked in the Red Series, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's been a fun watch for the offense. And, Clint, you talk about the switch being flipped, and then, Jeff, you talk about the offense just as a whole, right? It's not just the big boys kind of carrying the freight and, waiting for Shohei or Mookie or Freddie to have that one big swing, but the bottom of the order has been terrific lately. And like, that's just, it's a cliche general conversation going into every year. It's like your stars have to be the stars, and then your glue guys, the glue guys, and then your role player. Well, that's what we saw in 2024, right? It was, the stars were, they had their moments. Freddie was the World Series MVP. Show was at that point was more just kind of it was his presence than anything because he was hurt. Mookie had a big postseason. Teoscar showed up as the all-star. Muncy was doing his thing, but Tommy Edman, and so that's where you kind of have to push your great team to a championship team, is when you get the guys at the bottom, the glue guys and the bench guys involved and chipping in, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, this one. Go ahead, Jeff. I've been taking over too much.
I was just going to say, we're talking about Ron Rortvedt and the fact that he's playing for the Dodgers in the playoffs, but not just playing, but like contributing, not quite starring. I don't think you would call Ben Rortvedt the star of the team, but I mean, contributing, hardcore contributions, legit contributions, batting ninth.
Yeah.
And even if it's just a sack bunt, that then tricks the other team into saying, hey, have a free base runner so Mookie has an extra guy to drive in.
I mean, it's like, again, he's, the book on him when he came over, ask anybody about him. He was glove first, second, and third. You know what I mean? He was that was his profile. The bat is, he swings it. But
he has one. He owns several. Yeah.
He has several bats. But the way Ben has sort of you've seen him two strike counts, just
that double yesterday.
To the gap, opposite field approach. You're like, who is this guy? And you know what? He maybe Cinderella turns into a pumpkin at some point soon. But for now, I hope that he is relishing this moment. He seems to be, because he's making the most of the opportunity to play. And I hope he's pulling some confidence for himself, because he should be. I mean, these are no games in June for a non-contender. These are down the stretch pivotal ones as you're trying to solidify your postseason position, or now win in the postseason. And so for him to do what he's doing, it really is incredible. And that's to say nothing of the defensive side and how he's handled the staff, because obviously a much smaller sample size than Will or Dalton or even Barnesy, but the catcher's ERA for Rortvedt is Rortvedt. Sorry,
Ron Rortvedt. Yeah.
Ron Rortvedt it's the best.
He's putting in his homework, absolutely, and it shows a lot. And Jeff, I would say, what is it, the sort of line, like everybody's played in the major leagues. Dodgers trade for him. You're a big leaguer now. It's the Tommy Lasorda line. I'm sure he felt that. It's like, oh shit, this is how
it might be cooler to play for the Dodgers than the Rays. Just a theory.
Yeah, maybe just a hair. Steven, you were talking about a lot of the offense there, and this is probably the setup here is very much leading the witness. But what I liked about this wild card series, and listen, the Reds are a major league team, maybe not a big league team. They are a major league team. They have hitters. They drive nice cars. Dodgers got it done in game 1 with slug. They got it done in game 2 with a little bit of everything. 5 different guys with runs batted in, 5 different guys scoring runs, but sack bunts in there, no homers. I love that one. The Dodgers lose this series to the Phillies if that's it.
I'm trying not to give you like the.
That's what I said. I opened with. There's the Jeff answer, and there's the leading the witness to be like, cough, bullpen.
Yeah, no, I was trying. It's really not overcomplicated, man. Like, if the Phillies are gonna win, it's because their 3 left-handed studs shut down the Dodgers from a starting pitching standpoint, and they quiet the offense. I'd be shocked if this turns into a slugfest. I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
It's just not really how it works this time of year. And the Philly, like, I wonder what the game plan is going to be for the Phillies offense, because Trey Turner just came back at the very last day of the regular season, but he was dealing with the lower leg injury, and he played in the split squad scrimmage that they had at the bank yesterday. But where is he at offensively? It's like, because right now on paper it's like you just can't let Kyle Schwarber kill you.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. And that's when I say that's kind of it. I'm like, that's my thought. It's like, well, don't let Schwarber take you deep once or twice in a game. That's not to say that Bryce Harper can't, but yeah.
Yeah, it's. You could take the Jeff answer. They score more points than the good guys.
Yeah,
they're gonna win the series.
It's really that simple. It's not going to be overly complicated. If Kike runs out of October Magic, because now the last 2 years, the Dodgers are 11-0 when Kike Hernandez has a hit, and he has 8 multi-hit games in the last 2 postseasons. So, including back-to-back, this year. So, or maybe they're 10-0. Excuse me, 10-0. Whatever, they're undefeated in the last 2 postseasons.
Yeah, I think you said 9-0 during yesterday's game. So
yeah,
now
so
it would
yeah,
be 10.
yeah, 10-0. 10-0. So
I'll
he
text Trajewski.
Yeah, he seems to just be the magic straw that stirs the drink this time of year. So as long as Kike stays producing, apparently that means good things.
Yeah, but the Dodgers have done this against the Reds without much of anything from Muncy, without much of anything from Freddie, with literally nothing from Andy Paez. So there's, even if Kike does or somebody else, that's the thing about this team. There's so much talent. They don't all have to be on at once,
Yeah, I think, I go back to, I had summer swoon, and when Mookie was still lost. And, a lot of conversation was understandably around Mookie and like, is he going to find it? Like, what's going on? Yada, yada. And the 2 vets I was talking with, they said, Mook's going to be fine. Teo is the key. It's been a down year for him. Everybody knows that, but we need him to get hot for 4 or 5 weeks, and that will be the difference for us in winning a championship. Like, that's how much the guys in the clubhouse think of Teoscar Hernandez and his role in the lineup. And, we saw that in game 1, certainly. And then that, Jeff, you're listening to our radio telecast after that error, which was atrocious in the first inning, for him to come up later in the game and get both of those runs back was just so awesome in so many ways. And then him and Yama having that moment in the dugout, that's what it's all about right there. So, hopefully he can just keep it rolling, because he certainly seems to be cut from that cloth where, this is the time of year where he shines.
And he should benefit from getting to face lefties from the Phillies. That's who he's supposed to mash.
Correct. And that gives, obviously the roster is not out yet. But, you expect to see guys like Kike against lefties, Miguel Rojas against lefties, Tommy Edman, provided that he's healthy, against lefties. I know that Christopher Sanchez is a stud. Jesus Luzardo is a stud. Ranger Suarez is studs. But, the Dodgers, they have guys who can hit lefties. So, I just got to go out and do it.
And guys who have hit those specific lefties in the last few weeks,
Right.
So.
Right.
Can we run through a few of these super chats? We want to make sure that we don't ignore our
Let's
chat
do it.
here.
A lot of love.
Some of them just kissing your butt, which is okay, Bernard Dansel, $2 super chat, says, love hearing Steven Nelson on AM 570. I do too. I'll pop up a couple that aren't super chats real quick. O'Donnell Boy says, the only good thing about ESPN is that I get to mute it and listen to Nelly and Mo. And somebody else down here said, when I watch playoff games, Brandon Fellows, when I watch playoff games, I turn off the sound on the TV broadcast, turn the radio on, and sync the broadcast. Far better experience hearing you and Rick Monday. That's what I did too.
Yeah, I didn't really understand. I didn't know. You don't know until you know. And I hadn't done radio since college before last year. And so now doing the last 2 postseasons and working for a team now for 3 seasons, getting to be a part of that relationship between fan base and broadcast booth has been really special. I had that awareness when I was, working at LB Network or doing national games. It was well, fans would much rather hear their people. They want to listen to their guys. But now the level of understanding is deepened in a really impactful way, where I don't know, if I feel now part of the Dodger family, as opposed to just saying I'm a part of the Dodger family, and it's really cool.
Jeff, we've kind of had this conversation before about Vin and everybody growing up with Vin. And, Vin wasn't just the guy who called the Dodger games. He was your friend. He was there watching the game with you, telling you about what's going on. And that's how Dodgers fans, a lot of us were raised, was hanging out with somebody, just talking about, oh, this player, he did this. This is how he became good at it, or here's something about his family or whatever. Right. So that's the important thing with guys like you, guys like, of course, who's this Joe Davis guy? He's pretty good at it. That's gonna be my shtick now. You guys are the best of the best at doing this, and I guess watching you, listening to you grow into this role even better.
Cutting you off there. I got a long way to go to even be mentioned in the same sentence as those folks. I appreciate your sentiment there, but I still feel like I'm learning, and I still feel like there's a lot of places where I can and hopefully will get better. I'm very conscious about that, just the little things, especially going back and forth between TV and radio. But they're just they're high standards with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I've got to bust my ass to make sure I uphold them.
Well, this next super chat doesn't mention you in the same sentence as Vin, because it put it as 2 separate sentences. Our buddy Richie Flores, $1.99 super chat, says, I grew up with Vin. I will grow old with Steven. I would quibble with that. Richie has already grown old. Steven, you've actually met Richie. He's the guy who when you came to hang out with me at the home opener. He stopped by to say hi. So
Yeah, no, I know. It's just that is like
Hey,
poetic. And that
was good.
is
Yeah. And we lost him. That's how good it was. We lost Steven. We lost Nelly on that one. He broke.
Richie brought Steven to a pause, a halt. Let's hope that he comes back.
He's been battling the hotel.
Well, I'm going to
Wi-Fi.
keep running through some of these super chats. Vespine, no message, just $4.99 super chat. Thank you. We appreciate you. Rosa Mosa, $1.99. Thank you, Steven. Go Dodgers. Heart, heart. Don't care 187 says, did you? Love you, Steven. Let's go Dodgers back to back. I agree with that. Steven still smiling. He's still happy here.
He's internalizing. I don't know if he could hear us, but Steven, if you could hear us, X out, and then you can click back in, and then we'll let you leave officially.
Noah, $1.99 super chat says 3,000 strikeouts and 2024 5-run comeback calls are awesome. Good stuff there. Let's see if he rings back in. He has left.
We have Speeder Built, $5. I don't know if he did that one, but he says, be yourself, Steven. You're doing an awesome job. Enjoy how you call it. Your call at the end of the World Series will stick with me forever. And if some folks didn't listen to one of the last times he was on with Alana and I on Dodgers territory, he shared a great story about struggling with his GoPro before that call because it didn't seem like the game was going to happen. And Dodgers video guru Eric Vasquez had set up a GoPro pointing at him, and then they're like, hey, there's bad juju from this. I'm telling the whole story now, so no reason to go back and listen to Dodgers territory. So anyways, the short version is he breaks it down. It looks like we just got a passing tweet. Is that what I heard? Is that what the rumor I'm
crap,
seeing?
now it's trying to play
audio.
Yeah. Okay. So this is actually really.
Okay, I just muted that. I don't know how to stop it from replaying, but anyway.
what did I just hop back into?
I was telling people your GoPro story from Game 5.
And then when I went back to the screen with all three of us on it, it tried to play that audio again about Ron Roveltilt.
Well-oiled machine.
I just saw that last super chat.
Yeah, we were making sure to get a lot of the love out there, so you can go back in. We'll Xerox all the. Has there been any super chats that have been critical? You can show those ones too. The people, folks.
Nobody has been critical that I've seen, at least not in the super chats. So Ismail Sanchez says, as great as Joe Davis is, Stevens' calls, especially this season, have been my favorites. Keep up the good work, sir. Oh, great work. Sorry, I undersold you. Great work, not good work. Cole says the next chumpire bad call, Steven should just say that's certainly one way to see it. So.
Man, I think I almost got in trouble the other day because I think it was your guy, Jordan Baker.
Oh,
I think it was your guy. Yeah. So it was like after the clinch for Dodgers Mariners. And he had a tough time. He had a real tough time that day. But, he is 6'8". So
when you're 35 feet tall, you can't see the bottom of the zone.
But I was like, perhaps Jordan Baker was partaking in the recent celebrations for these two teams. I was like, wait, did you just accuse an umpire of being drunk on the job? It's like, no, that's not what I meant. But
I just meant he's bad at his job. That's all I meant.
Yeah.
When you say my guy, just so everybody knows, Jordan Baker is my least favorite umpire in baseball. Not because he's the worst, but because he is bad and he's quick to escalate. Takes off the mask, and we saw it that game with Miguel Rojas. I had told Steven before that, I said, he's my least favorite because he takes off his mask and escalates. And after that happened, Steven texted me and said, well, your scouting report was dead on.
You nailed it.
Pat Dwyer, one of
is.
our favorites, he says, hey, Steven Nelson, we will forgive the spelling error. I really love the work you do. So happy you're on the crew and hanging tonight with the top Dodgers thought leaders on the internet. That's why we forgive the spelling error, because Pat knows what's up.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way. Go ahead, Nelly.
No, I would say, so Steven Nelson with a V, I covered him. He's a cornerback. He, had pretty... He was in the NFL, but he played college ball at Oregon State, where I began my career covering Michael Conforto. And so that was like a bit. we did for the station. It was Steven Nelson interviewing Steven Nelson. And so for one, when he made it to the league, I would get tweets from fans either thrilled that I made an interception or telling me I stunk in man coverage. It was, in between there. So I'm used to that.
It's like the Angels have a reporter named Taylor Ward, and so he started including his middle name, Taylor Blake Ward, to make sure that people knew he wasn't the Taylor Ward who at that time was an Angels minor leaguer and is now an Angels major leaguer. So.
What I was going to add, though, from Pat's super chat there, saying you're hanging out with the top Dodgers thought leaders on the internet. One thing Boog Sciambi did for us inadvertently, he said, this game has been all Dodgers tonight. So I'm just saying, we got a shout out from Boog. I'm just like,
whether he likes it or not.
That's got to be an intro drop, does it not?
That's not a bad idea.
Somebody clip that.
$5 super chat from Steven's favorite member of the chat, IB Stroken. Anybody else experiencing a serious case of Schadenfreude? I never know how to pronounce that word. After the Padres exit, if that's German for not very sad about it, then yes.
Yeah. But no hate, no dancing on graves, no throwing stones from a glass house. Cannot do it. You don't want it. You don't want to put that energy out into the world. You gotta head down, take care of business in Philly. It's going to be tough. So
the reason I'm happy is it means I don't have to think about the Padres again until March. So
it's funny and how different are they going to look next March? I seriously, I wonder. They got a lot of big decisions on the horizon.
Yeah, we have another super chat from somebody whose username is battling IB Stroken. Swellin' Sausage says, "Welcome back, Nelly. Go Yoyer."
Go Yoyer. Oh no, he can't move too much. It breaks the internet.
Sorry.
Bob Nightingale, but not the real Bob Nightingale, says, "Hi, Steven. I paid $4.99 to say that, so we'll put that on the screen for sure." Noah Ortega, as you know, $1.99 says, "I'm glad Steven and I agree on Andy's base running." Andy Pias definitely has some work to do this offseason on a few things, parts of his game, and base running is one of them.
1,000%. I mean, he is that is an area of struggle for Andy. I will say, it is a testament to Pajes how he has kind of shifted the paradigm, on himself or for himself this year. Going from a guy who was like, all right, sophomore outfielder, and then after a few weeks, you're like, oh, okay, he's heading back to the minors. He is not a big part of our future. To having the year that he had, probably should have been an all-star. And then perhaps the disappointment of that led to, I don't know, the numbers do kind of line up from when the time he found out he wasn't going to be an all-star, how they kind of dropped off. But he's super streaky. Yeah. But still, to be a second year in the big leagues and to be as productive as he is and as many facets as he is, that is, I think because we're covering the Dodgers and he plays for the Dodgers, the learning curve, the grading scale, however you want to phrase it, is just a little bit more sharp and a little bit more critical. But kudos to him for even putting himself in these conversations where now we're splitting the hairs of saying, if he really wants to be a major league, no doubt he's got to work on his base running, but he's plus in other areas to kind of counterbalance that in the meantime. But all that to say, the reads and the decision making, he's definitely left some meat on the bone. But as far as second year in the big leagues, that's a pretty darn good one.
And the improvements he's made in center field suggest that he's willing to put in the work to improve himself in areas that need to improve. And so,
and then at the plate, last year, really struggled against breaking balls, got a lot better against breaking balls. Last year, he was basically, you could kind of send him back to the dugout in 2-strike counts. This year was a lot more hitterish in 2-strike counts. Those, I think we have to keep the same energy on both sides, right? The improvements and the deficiencies. And so, hopefully he can snap out of it. Right now he's in a cold spell that goes back to the last week, half week of the regular season. Because that's the bat. If he catches fire, especially given what he did against Joan Duran, in the last series. Like he would love for Andy to kind of find the hot. I was gonna say hot swing, but in honor of the super chat, hot stroke.
That's the one.
Here in the DS.
Another one from Richie. Are the Dodger dogs better in the press box?
No. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
I'll say it for you. The only good thing about a Dodger dog is it means you're at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah,
and the press box ones are at least free.
That's actually an excellent point by Clint.
Yeah,
excellent point.
Yeah. We had this one from It's KP. Where do I get Steven's hat? Your hat is always a hit every time people see it.
I get this question a lot. So this is from Island Works. On Instagram, check him out. My guy, he just works off of Instagram, and he like goes to events in and around LA County and just kind of sells it. It's so mad respect to anybody who's running a small business these days. And so my cousin Ryan Sakaguchi, he's like a diehard Dodger fan. He came over to our house, I guess it was last year or whatever, and our kids are hanging out playing. He had one of these hats. I was like, oh, dude, that's a sick hat. That's awesome. And then he got one for me, and so I started wearing it. And then Dodger fans were like, where's to get that hat? And so again, go check them out. Island Works with a Z. And support small business.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't come onto my show and do ad reads, all right?
Apparently he can, Clint.
Is this
better than mine? I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's my
no,
apologies,
that's
guys.
No. Honestly, hey, if they happen to see this, tell them to send a hat or two our way. We'd be happy to display it. We, being that we are, a mom and pop business, but it's pop and pop these days. Weird thing to say. I very much appreciate people that hustle and grind.
Yeah. I would guess he doesn't make them in my size. I got a Bruce Bochy head. So.
Oh, Bruce Bochy head.
Yeah.
We always used to joke at the network. It was like, would you rather have $1 million or Bruce Bochy's hat full of quarters? And it's pretty. I'm sure the amounts are pretty similar.
Well, here's the thing.
8 and 8. Oh, wow.
I wasn't joking about my Bochy hat.
It's great. You know what you do? You're doing that for? It's for the area code.
818, baby.
Yeah, he's a big time Joe Kelly fan. No way, he's a 909. Damn it.
All right, couple more quick questions from the chat.
Do it.
And then I'll have one last question for you that's not from the chat, but it's from me. Ray Soto asked, was Kersh wearing pants last night?
I was not in the clubhouse to confirm.
But he wore pants on the plane, at least?
He did, yeah. No shirt, but he did wear pants. Wouldn't the most romantic and fitting into this run for Kersh be a pantless celebration of a World Series win?
Pantsless parade, baby.
Pantsless parade. This is the year.
Yep. Hashtag pantsless parade. Get it started, folks.
Let's get it going. I have to wear pants because otherwise, it can't be dealt. If in the middle of Dodger Stadium introducing Ice Cube with no pants, that wouldn't be great.
Doc tried to take Ice Cube's pants off last year, didn't he?
Away from that.
Mark in the chat says, tell us one Rick Monday fact that would really surprise us.
Oh my God. The first one, I can't share it. I can't.
Okay. You'll tell us after.
Yeah. Let me just say that Mo has stories. Oh, you know what? Okay. Hold on. Let me just confirm. Hold on. We'll take a second. Hold on. Okay, I think this is a fun one to share. Oh man. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to find his handle.
How about this, Jeff? While he finds it, you can do another super chat or two.
Okay, yeah, because you have a couple more. They're just Pat
By
Dwyer.
the way, we
said-
appreciate people hanging out with us. We appreciate Steven hanging out with us, but everybody in the chat, you guys have been awesome.
Absolutely. $10 more from Pat Dwyer as an apology for spelling the name wrong. He says, sorry, Steven. By the way, I love the short form videos of you and Rick in the booth. Every time there's a home run, I know Rick is grabbing the ad read, but I always think he's celebrating.
Wow. Pat, it's appropriate you say that because the one that I will be posting tomorrow morning would be from Game 1 of the wild card series because the Dodgers gave Mo a core workout and a right shoulder workout with all the reaching he was doing for the Daniels Jewelers card, and so the booth views like a little change up. It's not just a call; it's more focusing on Rick in the booth and his reach back to get the reach from Dwayne. So that's awesome. I'll post that in the morning.
Hey, I'm just happy you got the GoPro down though. As I was telling the story when you left us for a second, you got it down.
No. Left GoPro. It's just my phone. It's just my phone.
Okay.
This is so much more I can control. I know that it's recording.
I know it's recording
okay. Normal and not like time lapse or stop motion.
I'm sure Eric appreciates that as well.
So I you're gonna have to forgive me, but Mo went to college with the creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cowabunga.
All right. Yeah, that's something I bet most of us didn't know. So,
you know what, Jeff? This is a perfect time for your glockenspiel. Oh, he left again.
He's coming back.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, we're back. All right. I think me having my phone and searching next to the laptop is apparently throwing off.
We used to make fun of my dad when he'd say, "Don't use up all the Wi-Fi." Apparently, Pink Pearl says she found her hat because of you. So I think it sounds like in the past she got that hat because she's seen it on you. Last one from the super chats.
He gone again.
He gone.
He did run out of Wi-Fi. The hotel is mad at him, unless he's hotspotting. I don't know.
I mean, what? I'm sorry, guys. I don't know.
Hey,
you're all
don't
good.
Apologize. Last one condiment only on a Dodger dog. What would it be? Apes Against the Machine says relish.
So yeah, my hot dog. I mean, it might be black. I just do a little bit of everything. Truthfully, like that's not even like a trying to be political answering a question. I will answer food questions very directly. I will tell you that I think avocado is trash, right? So
how do you feel about the son of Baconator?
I'm sorry?
The son of Baconator, Clint's favorite burger from Wendy's.
No, the Baconator is my favorite.
I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar, but for a hot dog, yeah, it's I do mustard and a little bit of ketchup. Sorry, I really don't care. If you don't like ketchup on a hot dog, onion and relish. I'd put a little bit of everything.
This takes me back. So I used to ask all the guests on my old podcast, well, not all of them, but particularly baseball players, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh, it's a taco.
Yep, that's the correct answer.
Yeah,
American taco.
I mean,
boy howdy.
Yeah, I like mustard and ketchup on my hot dog too. I don't like relish. I don't like sweet relish. If they had dill relish, I would absolutely put that on a hot dog. I don't like sweet relish, and I have a minor allergy to raw onions, so I don't like onions on my hot dog.
You do? Okay.
But I also put a little bit of mayo on it. That's why I like sitting Baseline Club, because they bring you a packet of mayo too. Mayonnaise, mustard, and ketchup on a hot dog.
So bang, white.
Boom. So I am white. Yeah, I'm also fat. You know.
Decided to fire up.
I got it all going on for me. All right. So last one. This is a question for me, not from the chat.
Okay.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto was the winner of your hot Dodger bracket. If you guys aren't familiar, McKenna Martin on Twitter every year creates the hot Dodger bracket. This is the 8th year in a row, something like that. Yeah. McKenna's great, and she, collects donations for good causes as part of it. # bracket season SZN. So go check it
25.
out.
25.
Bracket season 25. So this year, Yoshinobu Yamamoto was your winner. Last year, I believe it was Shohei Ohtani.
It was. But the year before that, I cheated and I said a Jameson outward, or Jameson Heyman. It was like a combo of Jason Hayward and James Outman. I cheated, and then I was like, oh, year 2 I can't, and I gave it to Shohei, and then this year I went Yama.
So it seems like when you went with Outman and Hayward, maybe you were thinking shirtless, because like that's a couple built dudes. Like,
yeah, like I mean, it's just the whole thing. It's like,
honestly, as a straight man, when I do that bracket, I'm kind of going like, which one would I most like to look like? You know,
that's fair.
And that's why I have a hard time seeing anybody other than Ohtani ever winning for me. While he's on the team, you know.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody, I grew up, getting friend zoned quite a bit. I also do factor in vibes and nice guys in there, and to give some upset wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, I admitted this to Mac when I posted him. I probably overthought a lot of this, but I took it very seriously, and I think that Yama was a deserving winner.
Yeah.
You had him losing round 1.
He did lose. Who was he up against? Was it
Edgardo? Edgardo.
I think Baby Bazooka is just adorable. You know,
it's adorable.
You're not wrong.
Like Yama's such a sharp dressed man.
Yeah,
every girl's crazy.
But honestly, because I forget who was down in that. I knew that whoever won that one was losing in round 2 anyway. So I didn't worry too much about it. I don't remember who it was. I don't have it up in front of me.
It was Will Smith versus Miguel Rojas in that part of the bracket.
All I'm saying is if Kike Hernandez says you have the best style, if you are the most beloved teammate, and have kind eyes and great hair and a terrific smile, then perhaps
and Kike would know. Yeah, I see what it was now. I knew that Teo was going to the Final Four from that regional for me anyway, because that smile, those eyes, like, and so I
rigged bracket.
Yeah, I didn't worry too much about like Bonda was an easy choice over Snell. And
Teo's gonna. I'm sure he won a bunch of brackets. I don't think he was an uncommon pick.
Yeah.
By the way, Keektober for me. I like the crazy ones a little bit.
Kike has won it for me in the past. Bellinger and Seager both won it for me in the past. I know Bellinger, Seager, Kike have all won it for me. Shohei 2 years in a row. Mookie won it a couple years ago. Dodgers are blessed with some great baseball players who are easy on the eyes,
and zesty.
A little bit zesty, much like the chat here. We did get one last super chat. Noah asked, Steven, what's your favorite Gatorade flavor? Hashtag if you know, you know.
Yes. So this is in reference to, our mutual friend, Jeff Spiegel, who asked a question of me, and I was cut off from answering it because similar to tonight, had major internet problems while I was on vacation. So I never gave the answer. So now I will.
Take that, Spiegel.
Hold on, wait. I have a drum roll for that then. It's very anticlimactic.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I don't get weird with Gatorade. I'm very classic. Like growing up, if I got sick, it was like chicken noodle soup with rice, saltine crackers, and a lemon lime Gatorade. So I equate lemon lime Gatorade with like just feeling better.
I respect that.
It has healing properties. Everybody knows.
Have you seen the thing though that says anybody who calls Gatorade by its flavors instead of by its colors is a cop?
Colors, yeah. So,
and then somebody replied and said, "But you have to differentiate between light blue and dark blue." And the guy replied and says, "Nice try, officer."
That is perfect, Jeff, because I was just about to say light blue, aka Glacier Freeze.
Yeah,
would be my number 2, and then if I had to pick a third place finisher, I would go with orange.
Well, orange is a dark horse for me. Yeah.
So I freeze it. You freeze it to get to the slushy. I don't know why it's better from orange for me than the other ones, but I freeze it until you get to slushy, and then I do the orange. Yeah.
Huh. Well, there you have it. I wish that Gatorade was like Skittles, where they all taste the same. They're just different colors. Like, so you're literally just choosing colors.
Yeah. It's Gatorade and Skittles, brought to you by Red 40. Yeah.
I said no product placement or ad reads.
That's right.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, do you have
Fun.
anything else you want to get off your chest here, Stephen?
No,
Anything
man,
else
I'm
that
ready
Jeff
to play.
Spiegel to ask that you didn't want to answer to him, but you do to us?
I'm ready to play ball, man. Let's get after it. Dodgers and Phillies, and we got a workout day tomorrow or today here on the East Coast as we approach 1:00. Staying up late for you. It's okay. I told Jeff I'm staying on West Coast time. And I owed you guys this for months now, so I'm good. But yeah, I'm excited for this weekend. I will say, like, Citizens Bank Ballpark, it is the loudest place I've been in baseball. That's before the World Series at Dodger Stadium last year. So the bank is different, and so I'm excited to call a game in that atmosphere as opposed to just watching it when I was at Bleav Network, and to then have the Dodgers playing in it, because I think and that's not meant to be a shot at Petco. Petco is incredible too as a road atmosphere, but the bank is in Philly is crazy. So if any
Especially
Dodger
something about knowing that the fans have been following baseball for more than 3 years, makes it more intense.
Yeah, I was. So that the one last thing I was so Adam Lefko is the friend of everything. He worked at TBS. He's during their studio coverage. He's a diehard Philly sports fan, and we were texting about like the difference in vibes between like Dodger Stadium and Philly, just from like the broadcast standpoint. It was like, oh, here's Jason Bateman like playing with his daughter, and then in Philly, it's like, here's a child giving an opposing player the double birds and screaming "Go Birds!"
The hint of danger is really what makes the bank that much better.
I forgot our buddy Kevin, who isn't with us tonight, wanted us to ask you at some point during this series against the Reds, you said, and listen to this crowd. And he started laughing because he was picturing Bob Uecker in Major League sticking his headset out the window. Were you thinking of Bob Uecker when you said, listen to this crowd?
I've done that. I have done that. I've taken off the headset and held it out there. And then the audio guy was like, I have controls down here. Like I can just
turn up the crowd noise.
You turn up the field mics. You don't have to put your headset on the booth. I was like, oh yeah, that makes a hell of a lot more sense. I felt like I was really adding to the noise there. But no,
it's the thought that counts.
Yeah. I was just thinking of the fans. But like, you texted me about this, Jeff. But like when Yama was pulled from the game, I said, Bleav into an ovation. Like, let's hear it. And Dwayne McDonald, our producer, like, to his credit, like, he let that sit for several seconds, and then we went to break.
Literally 20 seconds longer than the television broadcast. Like Dave Roberts took the ball and they went to commercial. Like, let's fit as many ads as we can. But on the radio, we got to hear the crowd.
That's something I've learned in just even the past year, and it's why I don't like a lot of my. I remember a commenter had referenced like my World Series call from last year, but I really don't like a lot of my calls from that last World Series, is because at that point, like, I'm thinking to myself, well, on TV I would lay out here, but on radio, like, you have to describe everything. And in the time since then, and talking to other broadcasters who have done it longer, and then just kind of getting a better feel for radio, like understanding the beauty of sometimes that of letting it breathe on radio, where it is just the crowd going crazy, and like that, it is like a beautiful thing. And listening, we've talked about Don Drysdale's call of Kirk Gibson's walk-off, like the forgotten call of that moment, and going back to listen how much silence he had after that play. I imagine there might have been people who turned on the radio in the car that moment. It was like, wait, what's going on? But like, it's just like there's a purity to it. So I'm trying to get better at, not talking over everything on the radio.
But for real, your voice crack as Freddie rounded third is one of my favorite moments. Game 1 of the World Series. I've got two teenage boys, it's like, these are my people,
My God, that's so bad. I know. You're like, I love your Freddie call, and I'm like, really? I hated it. I
It's
was so
so
bad.
good, Steven. So good. All
Yeah.
right.
We'll take
We've kept you when you and I were texting, we said a half hour. We're at an hour, 24 minutes and 45 seconds right now. Of course, you were gone for maybe a minute and a half of that. So
Yeah.
we're about a half hour. So
Well,
thank you so much, Nelly. We love you. Like all the nice things I say about you, I mean sincerely. I appreciate you being a friend. Love talking Dodgers with you, even if Clint has to be here. It's a lot of fun.
no, man. It's I've told you guys both individually, and I'll tell you together how much I appreciate you guys just as people, and forget the coverage that you guys provide, which is tremendous for fans. Like you make all of us smarter covering this team, truly. But beyond that, just good humans, and that's the biggest thing. So, hour and a half, whatever you said it was, it didn't feel like that. So that's a testament to you guys, and yeah, grateful, just grateful
And
for you.
let's
you,
do
man.
it again soon. Thank you all for being here. Huge crowd this whole time. Like a lot of people here, chat going crazy. We appreciate all of you. Appreciate the Bleav Network, FanDuel for sponsoring us. Thanks to the chat moderators, all the super chats, etc., etc. Game one, Saturday, 3:38 p.m. Pacific time, 6:38 p.m. Stephen Nelson time. And hopefully FanDuel will be wrong. The Dodgers will win that game. And then FanDuel will be right about the Dodgers winning the series. We will be here for all of it. And we'll have Stephen on again soon, hopefully. Thank you all.
Deal.
And we will just say bye.
Bye.